You're about to see one of the biggest bodybuilders of all time.
Ferrigno!
Admire his physique. See as he makes his competitors all look like dwarfs. This is him again, side by side with six-time Mr. Olympia champion, Dorian Yates. See as he made him look so small. Maybe you're thinking, hey, I've seen this man before, because just like me, you grew up watching him on TV. Famously known for acting as a fictional character, the Incredible Hulk. But behind the exterior, he's more than just an actor.
You do so many interesting things. You're a motivational speaker, you're
A police officer, philanthropist, footballer, bodybuilding god, 2 Guinness World Record Holder. Or was it just all a cover for something darker?
Well, you see, close to birth, I lost maybe like 85% of my hearing due to an ear infection. I first learned about it when I was like 4 years old because my parents would clap their hand. I wouldn't respond because I had 85% hearing loss because I have nerve damage.
Because I was bullied as a kid. I used to get beat up a lot, and I always wanted to defend myself.
Then I wore the old-fashioned hearing aid, and then
On top of his hearing problems, he had a complicated relationship with his father.
I was born in Brooklyn, New York, 1951, and I was a skinny child.
I was not the perfect son when I was born.
I have kind of, like would you say, a love and hate relationship with my father growing up because he had a hard time accepting me having a handicap because I wasn't the perfect son. I don't know if you know that all the pro bodybuilders have bad relationship with their father. He kind of pushed me and taught me never to feel sorry for myself.
It almost seems to me like you were like born to be the Hulk.
So in his quest to become the Incredible Hulk, bodybuilding was his gateway.
What was it that triggered that I want to be a bodybuilder?
Growing up in school, like I mentioned before, obsessed with powers, I would rush home from school to turn the TV on to watch the Superman series.
Yeah, because as a kid, I used to love reading the Superman comic. And I saw a magazine that said Muscle Power. That was the path for me to get involved in bodybuilding and where I am now because it was positive. Before you know, I'm looking at this magazine and I said, oh boy, and I see these different bodybuilders doing different poses, and that made me discover muscle.
You got into fitness and bodybuilding at age 13, is that correct?
Sean, I began about 12 years old. That's when I got into some weight training to learn how to utilize different exercises by 12 and a half. So you're talking about 54 years ago. When I was 14, when I went to high school, I was 5'6" inches tall. The next step was me to start working out and getting the feeling of picking up the iron. And it gave me a great feeling. I just like working out. But the first time I remember picking the weights up, I said to myself, I really like this feeling. And I went home and I told my parents, I said, I want to be a champion. It's just something in you, it's that drive. I go to the gym, I used to look in the mirrors, read magazines. I said, I have a chance, I have the potential to go somewhere. I remember my dad took me to the movie to see Steve Reeves' Hercules and Hercules Unchained.
When I saw that movie, I said to myself, this is it. It's this what I want to be. Well, I wanted to go see the Mr. Universe competition. It was 1969. And Arnold was there. He was training for he was pumping up for the Mr. Universe. So I worship him because he had beautiful symmetry. He was like a god. I've never seen anybody so big in my life. But I kept staring at him, saying that I get to see him in the flesh. He was my hero growing up as a bodybuilder. The guy's phenomenal, especially when he's done for the sport. And I remember watching him that night when the Mr. Universe competition. I said, that was my path to survive. That was my whole future. I said, this one I want to be.
Besides Arnold, who is your favorite bodybuilder and why?
Steve Reeves. So when I saw Steve Reeves, the way he was built, and he was lifting all these monstrous poundages, and the fact he was fighting all these people, that's what I wanted to be. This guy had an 18-inch calf, 18-inch bicep, 18-inch neck, 29-inch waist, no cavities in his teeth. He played Hercules, the first Hercules, and he's from Montana. So, I mean, the guy's very athletic. I had this passion, this desire to compete. A lot of friends of mine laughed at me because at the time I had skinny legs, I had nice arms, and a small chest. I was about 19 years old when I entered my first competition. The more I saw my body started to change, the more I became obsessed. I just loved working out. It was like an obsession to me. And I remember when I first competed in my first contest, I came 23rd place. But I remember that night when I stepped on stage. I stepped on stage, flat bowl were going up, people clapping, and I said to myself, this is great instant gratification. I really like it. I said to myself, I'm doing something right. That night I came home, I told my family, I'll never come less than third place again from this day on. So from that point on, everything I placed higher and higher. I've won the Mr. Eastern America, Teenage America, Mr. Teenage America.
In 1973 and 1974, he won the Mr. Universe twice.
The youngest one to win the universe. I was 21 years old. It was my greatest achievement because I know when I won the universe, that's a dream coming true. That broke the mold and made me realize that someone like myself or my problem, the sky's the limit.
In 1975, Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger were the favorites to win the Mr. Olympia, and the battle begins.
And now we come to the heavyweights.
I decided in 1974 I won't go into Mr. Olympia. Some people told me that I shouldn't compete because I wasn't mature enough. I didn't care because I wanted to go right on that stage to compete with Arnold.
We have 3 contestants from the United States of America. Lou Ferrigno.
I was living in New York. They approached me about doing this movie, Pumping Iron. I was ecstatic to be in the movie because I knew that whatever happened, I was part of something that was going to be history because of myself and Schwarzenegger. And of course, Arnold at the time was like 5-time Mr. Olympia. And to be on stage with him, you know, you're on stage with the best.
The United States by Austria, one and only, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So Arnold and I, we were competitors because growing up as a kid, he was my idol.
My desire was to be the best in the world. So when the movie came out, it really exposed to show the other side as a bodybuilder, the lifestyle, everything, and the rest is history. Because I remember we traveled to Africa.
It was very tense because the competition was in South Africa. They only had like 8-9 weeks to prepare.
And now we'll call on all 3 contestants, Lou Ferrigno, Serge Nubret, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, for a pose down for the final decision for the judges.
So I trained for the film, and they followed me like 24/7, you know, filming and everything.
10 good reps.
Lou Ferrigno was more introverted and was training with his father, while Arnold Schwarzenegger was the extroverted type, getting the attention of girls and reporters.
Am I married? No, I'm not married. Oh yeah, I'm pumped up already.
Consider coming up against Muhammad Ali.
The question is if he would do it.
Now in the film, obviously Arnold was portrayed as a king, you know, as kind of like on the throne, and you were the underdog, you know, kind of like a nemesis coming for the throne. Like, is that how you really felt at the time as well?
Every time anyone sees Pumping On, they will come away, you know, loving the movie, getting inspired by the movie, but at the same time they're asking themselves, wow, I mean, was all of this stuff true? I mean, was it really, did Arnold really psych out Lou Ferrigno? Did he really not go home to his father's funeral because it was just shortly before a competition? And was he really that cold that he said, well, forget that, he's dead already. I'm not going to bother with that, I'm going to just focus in on my competition.
Yeah, because Arnold, I was playing the underdog. Arnold was, like you mentioned, at the time, arrogant.
Is that true? So I think it's important to clarify that there are certain things in this movie that were true, like the competition, the outcome of the competition, the training, the severity of the training, the severity of the pain, the sacrifices that needed to be made, the amount of hours we spent in the gym, the food supplements we had to take, the food that we had to eat all the time, the pounds of meat and all this kind of thing. All of that is true. But there were certain things that are not true. And that's why we never call it a documentary, we call it always a docudrama.
He was a natural-born salesman, and he knew not just how to sell bodybuilding shows, but he knew how to sell himself.
So they created the Mr. Olympia contest, which is then the top contest, and whoever wins that is the top bodybuilder.
And you are the top bodybuilder?
Right, yeah.
How long have you been the top bodybuilder?
Well, I've not been beaten for the last 7 years. I feel that you can have the best product in the world, but if you don't know how to sell it, and if you don't have anybody who can sell it for you or tell the public, it's a waste of time, the whole thing.
3rd place from...
So I want to defeat him, I want to be the best.
The United States of America, Lou Ferrigno. 2nd place from France, Serge Nubret.
Arnold became the winner of Mr. Olympia, while Lou Ferrigno took 3rd place.
It's no more
because it was my last year of competition, and I would like to announce officially that I'm retiring from bodybuilding competition. I would like to thank you all for supporting me. I would like to thank the judges. Bodybuilding has been a beautiful experience for me, and I will continue it for the rest of my life. I only stopped competing, but I'm not stopping bodybuilding. It's the greatest sport. Thank you.
My greatest investment, besides being a world champion, is my beautiful wife, Carla, my beautiful kid, and all personal trainers, because of bodybuilding and fitness.
After Mr. Olympia lost, Ferrigno left bodybuilding to focus on his family, getting married and giving birth to 3 sons, while still pursuing his acting career.
So Lou, your big break comes when you do a film about bodybuilding with a certain Mr. Schwarzenegger.
No one knew what bodybuilding was till Pumping Iron came out, and in my opinion, it was the best docudrama ever made.
But I was very glad to be part of the film, even though I wasn't in my best shape, because it changed history.
Because back then, when I worked out like in the early 70s, you never saw a woman working out. Women, it was like unknown, unheard of a woman just working out in the gym. So it changed over the years. Now you have men and wives working out, you have young kids, the families, so all that changed. But in my time, it was only like a male sport. So Pumping Iron laid the groundwork to change all that.
How did the Hulk come about when you got that?
Lou Ferrigno here. I want to tell you a story how the Hulk was born, the original Hulk. I got a phone call. They said they were casting for the Hulk, which I was like blown away. So at the time, I was training for the Mr. Olympia competition. And he said, we're casting for the Incredible Hulk. Would you like to come down for the screen test? Because at the time, they were shooting the pilot of the Hulk with another actor named Richard Kiel. Richard Kiel, the tall guy, 7'2", he played George and James Bond. So one day, the director came on the set with his son. The boy said to his father, Daddy, this is not the Hulk. It doesn't look like the character in the comic book, the muscle. And he said, the boy said the Hulk is gotta be big, big, huge muscles. They started to get nervous, realizing they had to find the right person to play the Hulk because they knew the show would be in trouble. So they did a nationwide casting call to find the biggest bodybuilder that they could find. So I received a phone call. I went down for the screen test. He takes me in the motorhome. He goes, could you show me the emotion about, like, it's called like pantomime. That means acting without speaking. And I was scared because I never acted in my life before, so I gave my best shot. I was actually like Bill Bixby of the Hulk my whole life. That's why when I went down for the audition, I knew that nobody could play the part better than I could because I know how the Hulk thinks and feels. The phone rings again. The executive producer said, come back to the set. I need to speak to you. And I was really concerned about the time factor. And I said, wow, this is great, but I'm training for the Miss Olympia in 1977. I've always wanted to win the Miss Olympia. And I said, I don't know what to do because the Olympia competition is 6 weeks away. Do I give up the Hulk audition or do I train for the Olympia? And the next day I'm looking in the mirror, I see these white eyes, green wig and teeth growling. I said, what am I doing? Because I wanted to win the Miss Olympia competition in 1977. Ira looked at me and said, hey, go for the Hulk because he said you can compete again. So then, it was the gamble. The next day, we're filming and the rest is history. I knew that with me having that part, the show was going to be successful. Because no one can play the Hulk but myself. And the Hulk was born. So it was great because every time I did a scene, the crew would clap. I told myself, why are they clapping? Because I realize now they're clapping because I express their anger because they relate to it when I was on the set, like smashing through walls, like breakaway glass, jumping out of helicopters. So it was a great experience. And then I had a chance to play Hercules later on.
At 6'5" and 262 pounds, it was a massive convincing Hercules, and it was named the 10th hottest on-screen Hercules ever. In the early 1990s, Ferrigno returned to bodybuilding to compete for the Mr. Olympia title, and he was looking bigger than ever. Unfortunately, for the next 5 years, he didn't win a single Mr. Olympia title. Instead, he finished 10th and 12th place in his first 2 seasons. At the end of it all, 1996, he decided to retire from bodybuilding competitions.
But growing up as a kid, I've always wanted to be a police officer. So throughout my year, I've done over 50 films, 5 TV series. So about 15 years ago, I went to the sheriff. And I told him how much I like law enforcement. He goes, why don't you go through the academy? So I went through the academy. It took like 6 months of training, the shooting, the driving. And I'll tell you, it was brutal because my table was filled with textbooks. I had to take a lot of different tests, studying. And so after about 6 months, I became a certified deputy sheriff. I do a lot of search and rescue, and being a police officer was a great experience because it changed my life.
And then he went for surgery.
Well, you know, my whole life wearing hearing aids, I had always been struggling for clarity because I wanted to have better clarity because hearing aid mainly amplifies sound for me. So as a kid, I had an old-fashioned hearing aid because I have a profound hearing loss when I was born. I lost like 85% of my hearing.
Now you have some great news today, right? I understand you got an implant, cochlear implant.
Yeah, they call it a cochlear implant.
Wow.
Ever since I had this surgery, it was a life-changing experience because now I have much more confidence, especially a much better clarity. You see, the best hearing aid in the world is not going to give me the clarity like a cochlear implant. I'm just emotional, but good.
You can hear something. Yeah.
Can you hear it, Lou? Wow. The last 2 years was life-changing. I feel like I was reborn because now I can hear sounds I never heard before, especially my own speech, the inflection of your voice, and especially helping so many people that can have a better hearing situation.
Just like the Incredible Hulk, his anger at a very young age from being bullied for his hearing loss to having a complicated relationship with his father transformed Louis Ferrigno into a mass monster giant. But instead of using it for bad, he channeled his anger into doing something good for the world.
Definitely, I was the Hulk my whole life. And I used to read the Hulk comics all the time because for me, it was like a chance to escape. I was like a real life Walter Mitty. And what I'm trying to say is that if I didn't follow my passion, I wouldn't be where I am now because I have so many naysayers say, you can't, you can't, you can't. Everything in my life I was told I can't, I've overcome. I love challenges, I love risk. So about 13, 14, everything changed. And then eventually, I became the Incredible Hulk. I became a movie star. I became a successful businessman. You see, you only live once. If you're passionate about something, don't be afraid to take a risk. We all have a little Hulk inside of us. We all want to break windows. We all want to throw people, when we get angry, people around smashing cars. We all want to express how we really feel. The Hulk does it for us.